Let's call the Village Board meeting, July 24th, 2023 to order, and we need roll call.
Doxey?
Here.
Washburn?
Here.
Clausen?
Here.
Anastasio?
Here.
Bhatia?
Here.
DeGroot?
He's here. Trustee Hewitt is excused. Before I get to the Pledge of Allegiance, I just wanted to take and call for a moment of silence. We lost one of our canine officers in the past couple of days, Officer Brutus, canine.
Oh my gosh.
Had some issues and they had to put him down. I have Police Chief Matt Sones here, and I think he wanted to say a couple words. But a moment of silence first. Chief Sones.
Thanks, Mr. President. So, some of you remember Brutus. He came to us fall of 2013. He's been partnered with Officer Nicole Neerum since then. About 11 years old. Unfortunately, the last month or so, some internal organs were failing, and unfortunately was put down last week. He was a wonderful partner for the police department, for the community, and he'll definitely be missed. So thanks for that moment of silence.
Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so item D on the agenda, we have a presentation from South Shore Fire Department, stats report. Chief.
Good evening.
Chief Stebbin, just make sure that the light's on, that you're mic'd up.
It's on, is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. So basically what I'm going to do tonight is just a recap of what we did a couple of months ago. I only have about 6 or 7 slides. So I'm going to talk about the types of incidents we had in 2022, do a comparison of our call volume for 21 versus 22. Look at our call volume for 2022 versus 2023 to date, or as of the end of July, or end of June. And then our alarm to arrival data, which I talked about a couple of months ago. And look at our call volume increases from 2013 through 2022. So, and I'll give you a handout. So the first document is, it shows the number of calls we had in 2022. We had 5,527 calls. And on number of fire calls, 137. EMS, 4,173, which is about 75.5% of our total calls. Hazardous conditions was 112 calls, which is 2.3%. Service calls were 507. Good intent calls were 299. False alarm, 290. Severe weather, we had 2 calls, and complaint were 7 calls for a total of 5,527. The next page that I don't have a slide for gives a breakdown of the types of calls. So what we do is report under the national, it's called NIFRS, National Fire Incident Reporting System. We report through our software on a monthly basis to the state of Wisconsin, and then they submit those data figures to the U.S. Fire Administration, FEMA, that tracks them for all the fire departments in the United States. So I won't say all of them participate, but I think in Wisconsin there's 761 fire departments, and I think there's about a dozen that don't participate for whatever reason. They maybe just don't have calls volume or whatever it might be, but the majority of them participate in the state of Wisconsin. So it kind of gives you an example, because if you ask me, what's a hazardous condition, I don't have it off the top of my head because I don't deal with these reports every day, but that's the next page I gave you, the handout that's got all the codes there. That kind of explains all of them there. And we actually have, like our false alarms, 290 for the whole year. That's 5.25%. Pretty low. I think nationwide that number is closer to 10%. And our EMS calls at 75%. That's pretty normal for most departments that run both fire and EMS calls. The next slide is the call volume from 2021 to 2022, and it's broken down by month, and the blue is the 2021, and the orange would be 2021 year-to-date, and then 2022 is kind of the gray, that's the monthly breakdown, and then 2022 year-to-date is the yellow. And you can see for the total year, we had, again, 5,527 in 2022, and in 2021, we had 5,308 calls, which is about a 4.1% increase over 21 and 22. Every year we go up, and I'll show you that record from 2013 through last year. It's pretty significant. The next page, next slide, is 2022 versus 2023 comparison. So as the end of June, we were at 2,876 calls. Last year, at the end of June 22, we were at 25.67 calls, which is a 12% increase over last year. And right now, as of today, we're still running at 12% more calls than we had in 2022. And based on that pace, we're going to probably go, and we're going to hit over 6,000, maybe close to 6,100 calls this year. Pretty significant increase. The next slide is our response calls by district, less than 6 minutes travel by percentage. And what I have there is the number, and if you go back when we talked about this a couple months ago, I gave you a map of all of our districts, and they're laid out, and you can see which ones are really busy ones. District 111, 112, 145. 111 is around Station 9, Sturtevant, comes out 90th Street, the highway, actually right over here by, on 90th Street past Highway 20. It takes in Corporate Drive and those senior citizen Fountain Drive over there, and it goes down Highway 20 all the way to Oaks Road. So it's a pretty big district. That's our busiest district in the entire, both villages now. So you can look at the number of calls we had in 2022, and then a number of calls in that district. So number 111, we had 778 calls in that district in 2022, and in the number of calls that our response time from en route to arrival at the scene, 90.89%, we were there within less than 6 minutes. So you can go across the board. District 121, 122, and 123, those are the old districts from the old Station 7 on the east side. And those three districts together equal about 8% of our total calls. Actually, I think last year probably about 7% of our total calls. And District 123 actually is really closer to Station 8 than it is the old Station 7 on the lake. But it's a small percentage of our calls. We don't hit 80, 90% of the calls less than 6 minutes. It's closer to 60%. And in District 123, because it is closer to Station 8, it's about 81% there. And what we've been finding this year, and we'll be coming to the board during the budget process, and that is that more and more we're having vehicles, med units, crossing each other. So like today, we had a motorcycle accident, Highway 32 and Sheridan Road. Well, Highway 32 and Larson, I guess it was there. So we sent a med unit there and an engine, and then they called for another engine and another med unit. That second med unit had to come from Sturtevant. So we're getting more and more of that, where our med units are crossing districts, response districts, because they're out already. So that's going to increase our response time more than it has been in the past. So we're going to look at trying to solve that a little bit next year in the budget by asking for additional person per shift. But overall, I think that in the majority of our districts, our 6 minute or less response time is pretty high percentage. And some of them it's really good. You know, District 111, 145, right by Station 8. 143 is right by Station 8, 142. And if you look down that area, 133 and 144, that's the new Station 7 EMS station. We really reduced our response time over there for med calls because it's right there and it's really close by. We'd probably cut response time in that entire area over there for Station 7 by 3 minutes at least across the board. So this is the next slide's another picture of looking at the alarm to arrival data. So our software doesn't measure en route to arrival, it measures from the time of alarm to arrival. So I'm giving the same numbers there, except it goes, instead of going from 5 to 6, it's going from 7 to 8. But if you subtract 2 minutes from that 7 to 8, that's where you get into 6 minutes or less, because from the time of the alarm till the en route, we have about 2 minutes normal time. It's called turnout time, where we have to get our turnout gear on and things like that before we turn out. So the 7 to 8 minutes is really a 6-minute response time. And overall, of all alarm to arrival, where we responded to the calls, 4,564 calls, 84% of them we were there in less than 6 minutes travel time. And I've said before, and I said it when we closed the old Station 7, opened the new one, we'll give you whatever response time you want. The board really decides that. And you tell me what you want, and we'll tell you what resources we'll need and what it's going to cost. And to be honest with you, this is the best we can do with the resources we have. And we're not complaining, but we do the best we can with the resources we have. And you'll see that in the last slide. In 2013 was the first year I was here, and we had 3,645 calls that year. Last year we had 5,527 calls, which is a 52% increase in 10 years in our call volume. And right now we're at another 12% this year. So it's pretty significant. In the 10 years I've been here, what we've added the 6 people for Station 7 when that building was open 4 years ago. And other than that, we just move resources around and we do the best we can. And I think we provide a great service and we have very few problems with response times. Usually it'll be a situation where we got 3 or 4 calls going on at the same time. And that happens wherever you're at. So. Any questions?
Go ahead, Ron.
Chief, apart from the technology, because people have the cell phones and everything, what else do you attribute to the increase in the number of calls? If I just look at the last couple of years, from 21 to 22 to
I think it's a little bit of everything. We've talked about it. I mean, we have group homes have really become, they're everywhere. They're in your neighborhood, they're in everyone's neighborhood. They really are creating a lot of call volume for us. We have a number of senior citizen complexes throughout both villages that require a lot of responses. We have Aurora Healthcare, Urgent Care on Highway 20, Ascension Open One on Highway 20, farther west. And oftentimes people go there and, I mean, we had a Saturday, I think it was, we responded to pulseless non-breather. Someone went into urgent care with a health problem, all of a sudden they became P&B. So just a little bit of everything. I think more accidents probably. But I think as the village, if you look at, and one of the things we'll give you during the budget process, in the last 5 years between the 2 villages, we've added like 6 million square foot of buildings. 6 million square feet of buildings. And along with that comes people, traffic, all those things. It just creates, our population's not growing like that, but our call volume is because of traffic and there's a lot of people that are not in proper healthcare facilities, I guess I'll say, where they're not in a facility where they're being taken care of. And law enforcement can certainly attest to that. They deal with it every day. So it's a little bit of everything. I can't say it's just group homes. It's not false alarms. We have a little bit there, but not that. It's a little bit of everything. And even during COVID, we quieted down a little bit, but then after that, it picked back up.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is that even with the calls increase in the calls, obviously we can't do anything because people have the right to call, and like you said, all the reason. But it is still commendable that with the resources we have, that you are still able to respond. 90% or so calls less than 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
I know last week Battalion Chief Mike Linky, who's in charge of EMS, met with someone from Department of Health and Social Services from the state level about the problems that we have with group homes. There's one group home, and I won't say where, it's over by Station 8 area, where it was a senior citizen complex in the past. They opened it up within the last year. They have 60 bed capacity, and they do not have health care services on the premises. There was one day a week or so ago, we were over there like 8 times in one day. Now, I'm not saying we're not transporting, because we are, but there are other times when we go there, we're just helping people, and so we're having some conversation with the state, but it's not just Mount Pleasant or Sterling, it's going on everywhere.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Okay, the next item I have here is a proclamation recognizing Roma Lodge's 100-year anniversary. Is anybody from Roma Lodge here? Nobody here to accept it, so I think what I'll do is we'll read it into the record and pass it along to the lodge. So this is a proclamation on Mount Pleasant stationery with our seal, and it says, whereas in the early 1900s, millions of immigrants and their families left their homes in Italy to come to America in search of a new life, bringing with them their strength of character, belief in hard work, devotion to family, love of life, and a reverence and appreciation for the arts. And whereas, connected by a shared heritage, a strong determination to succeed, and a new appreciation for the new freedoms that they found, Italian immigrants played an integral role in creating some of our nation's most valued national treasures, including the Lincoln Memorial, numerous statues and artwork in the National Cathedral and Capitol. And whereas Italian Americans are filled with pride and gratitude for family and an ancestral culture which, through the generations, has greatly influenced almost every aspect of our nation's culture, including language, history, architecture, food, fashion, film, politics, literature, music, sports, and government. And whereas the origins of Roma Lodge date back to the early 1900s through the establishment of 7 separate mutual aid societies dedicated to servicing the Italian-American immigrant population within the greater Racine community. And whereas in 1923, the mutual aid societies consolidated into the Order Sons of Italy in America, Roma Lodge number 1196. And whereas Roma Lodge is based upon the principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity, which are always remembered and held dear. In 2023, it is dedicated to serving all citizens within the greater Racine community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Village Board of Trustees for the Village of Mount Pleasant hereby declare and congratulate Roma Lodge on their centenario, which is their 100-year anniversary. So,
All right.
congratulations, Roma.
Congratulations to Roma Lodge. Sorry they're not here, but hopefully they'll tune in, but that's a wonderful statement for our community to have someone with that kind of heritage and that age and going back to the 1900s.
Here, here. Okay, so from here we'll move on to public comment. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments on any matter. Please fill out a comment form and the president will recognize you. Use the microphone and state your name and address for the public record. The comments are limited to 3 minutes. Can I hear from John from Altamont Circle? I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but if you want to go up to the podium.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Sure
come on.
can. Yeah.
I'm John Firetag. I live at 6724 Altamont Circle, Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. I'm here to comment on signage for leashing dogs on the path in Mount Pleasant. My wife and I were attacked by 2 dogs that were unleashed as we were riding our bicycles. The lady had the leash in her hand, knew that she was supposed to leash them, but did not do so. My wife suffered a panic attack, so I called the Mount Pleasant police, asked for assistance. They arrived. The officer found the lady. Lady acknowledged that she knew that she was supposed to have them on leash, but didn't. So my comment is that perhaps there could be better signage. There is signage on the trail already, but it's in very small letters. Perhaps you consider something larger to inform people, or perhaps you could consider amending the ordinance or changing the ordinance. The police officer there that came said that the first time someone is recognized for not leashing the dog, they're given a warning, and the second time it's citation. I would suggest that maybe you consider that if the policeman approaches the person, if they have a leash, they should get a citation right away, because obviously, or it would be that they know they're supposed to have the dogs on leash but refuse to do so. You can't make people read, you can't make people act appropriately perhaps, but you could hold people responsible. The other comment I would make, and the chief of police is here, there are very nice signs on the pathway to notify people or notify 911. I'm at signpost number so-and-so. At that particular day, the Mount Pleasant Police Dispatch Officer did not have any idea what the signs were or where they were located. So we had to move off trail and move to the swimming pool area to get contact with the police. Have any questions?
Appreciate your thoughts.
I've had that happen out there myself.
And again, if you wanted to take that up further with the police chief, he is here. Can I hear from Rodney Phelps? Rodney? Yeah.
I just wanted to find out about.
Why don't you mic yourself up? Name and address, sir, for the record.
Well, I live at 1514 Derby Avenue, and I'd like to know what's going on with the old Case property. They removed the chain link fence, put a brand new fancy fence in, and it looks like they're putting in 2 entrances into Lake Park. And I'd like to find out, what are they gonna build in there, or what are they gonna do in there?
I'm not sure that any of us at the board level are aware of what they're doing at Case. I know that they've been doing a lot of remediation, and I know that they've have been pushing some dirt around. Does Sam know anything about building permits or anything?
Case is expanding the existing building that is out there, and they're also installing a test track for tractors out there. Because they have that outdoor storage use, which was allowed outdoor work area use for the test track, which was allowed per the existing zoning out there. They were required to update the screening around the entire site, which is why they updated the fencing, which is now essentially a 6-foot wall instead around the site. There are some areas where they will be upgrading the landscaping as well, and they are installing sidewalks for portions around the site that did not already have them.
And so the rumor of condominiums going up out there is totally false?
No, they have not submitted any permits for condominium development. The site is currently zoned for manufacturing use.
Okay, do you know why they're putting in 2 entrances on the south side there?
I don't know specifically why those locations, but they do have points of access on public streets to the north and south of the property. So they are allowed to connect into those streets if they submit a permit to the Public Works Department.
Okay.
Thank you. Was there anybody else wishing to speak, public comment? Don't have anybody else signed up. I do have a couple of public hearing items, and if anybody's interested in speaking at those, you'll get your chance.
Dave Ralston, 1236 Roslyn. Just wondered if someone who was here that is going to be talking about the C under new business, 1 Community Development C, public hearing regarding
Yes.
Resolution 12-2023, 1316 Bryn Mawr Avenue conditional use. And exactly, we live
Yes.
just a block.
Can we get to that when we get to, we have an agenda, and we'd
Okay,
be
I'm
happy
sorry.
to hear from you at that point.
Yeah, okay, great. I'm not that addressed. I'm a neighbor.
Right.
Wondering what happened.
All good. Yep, we'll get there shortly. So with nobody else wishing to speak publicly, we will close public comment, and we will move on to the consent agenda. It's my understanding that consent agenda item number 8, the Fancher Road CSM, is going to be removed, as well as the Fancher Road items in community development A and B. It's not quite ready for prime time. So if we can do the consent agenda with the exception of item 8, which is being removed.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda excluding item 8.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. President, I do need to recuse myself from item 7.
Okay, so we'll note that trustee Washburn is recused from item 7. Otherwise, a consent agenda goes through as voted. So we'll move on to new business, and again, this is where we have these couple of public hearings. In the first public hearing regarding Old Fancher Road, and the action item on it, the ordinance, is being removed. So we will not be taking that up tonight. So we'll move on to the next item, which is related to Resolution 12-2023, 1316 Bryn Mawr Avenue, conditional use permit CU 23-1. The following rules apply to this hearing and each of the other public hearings scheduled for tonight. If you wish to speak, please fill out a public hearing form, which you can find on the table next to the entrance. So that'd be you. Once recognized, speakers should come to the podium and identify themselves with their name and address. Please speak clearly into the microphone. Speakers must direct all discussions towards the board. I will not allow interchange between members of the audience and the speaker. Please do not interfere with nor interject comments while another person has the floor. Please keep all comments on a particular item before the board and no longer than 5 minutes. And finally, please turn off or mute all electronic devices so we don't have that distraction. So the first items would be the Bryn Mawr, as I just mentioned. Sam Schultz.
Mr. President, Village Trustees, the applicant proposes to reduce the setback distance of the property from the toe of the bluff as detailed in Section 90-480.40 modifications. The current setback for structures from the toe of the bluff is 156 feet, and the application requests to reduce this setback to 102 feet. The request is to expand the existing garage on the property within the unmodified bluff setback. The property already has bluff protection, the revetment, from the project completed by the Public Works Department a few years ago. The conditional use complies with the land use element of the comprehensive plan. The village does not have an adopted plan for local planning area 20. The rest of this application follows the application and review procedures by right. when reviewing a conditional use, we review a number of conditions, which you can see in your executive summary. This application meets all of those conditions for review. For additional considerations, while the scenario of this application is not likely to repeat due to the limited number of properties affected, the staff intends to explore avenues to correct the reason for them needing to apply for a conditional use. The provision for a conditional use was intended to apply to bluffs that were unprotected or that utilized a protection project completed privately that would need public review. For conditions, neither the village staff nor the plan commission recommend any conditions for approval. And with that, the village staff recommend, and the plan commission recommend, the village board approve the conditional use. So it's just like a smaller setback to the toe of the bluff to expand their garage.
Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
Did the petitioner wish to speak any more on this matter, or did Sam cover it to your pleasure? Well, and yeah, please do mic up if you'd like to speak. And if you could, your name and address.
My name is Joe Stife. I live at 1316 Bryn Mawr Avenue in Mount Pleasant. Basically, there was a pre-existing garage. We are expanding its depth, not its width, so it's not taking up more of the street access. But just to provide us a little bit more garage space. So.
Okay, thank you.
So does that mean that it would be closer to the bluff?
No. Actually, no, it won't be closer to the bluff. In fact, it'll be a little bit further away from the bluff than the current garage. So. It'll be on the west side. Yes, on the west side of the house.
Does that affect taxes in any way, or the easement?
How do you want to go over here?
These are questions for Sam.
He's done.
Are you done otherwise? Because he wants to speak, and we may, get some of this cleared up.
It's in relation to that.
Name and address, sir?
We're neighbors. We're neighbors to this gentleman, and right down one block further north at 1236 Roslyn, which is right at the end.
Your name,
of
sir?
Yeah, right on the water.
Your name,
like,
sir?
Like he is.
I don't think he can hear you.
And we just wondered.
Your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Dave Ralston, 1236 Roslyn.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have the form here if you want. So we just wanted to know what was going on, and it did say something about taxes, so we always thought, taxes, well, let's go to that meeting and find out what's going on with the easement or what's happening. So at this point, is it correct to say that this gentleman is putting a garage on the west side of his house and it doesn't affect us in any way, or is that the sense of it?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
You're all
And
good.
It was listed as something under taxes, so nothing to do with taxes, right?
Okay.
Tax,
No?
yeah, okay, very good. Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Okey doke.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
President DeGroot, as a point of clarification, in our Plan Commission reviews, part of the review by the Community Development Director
We're
is...
still, this is the public hearing, but the next item, Nancy, is when you can
I
talk
just
about
wanted
it.
to be able to explain.
Can I ask the board to speak into your mics? You guys are all kind of far away. Like, can you just pull them forward?
Okay. All right, so is anybody else wishing to speak on the Bryn Mawr item? Again, name and address for the record.
Yeah, I also own a house at the corner of Bryn Mawr and Sheridan Road, 3703 Sheridan Road, which is one house away from, across the street from him. And there's no problem. I mean, I've lived out there 65 years, and they're tearing down the old Mossick garage. You're gonna expand it a little bit. It does nothing but improve things. And it's not getting any closer to the lake either, so no problem.
Okay. So with nobody else to hear from, we'll close the public hearing on that item. And from there, we can move on to item D, which is discussion possible action on Resolution 12-2023, 1316 Bryn Mawr Avenue, conditional use CU 23-1. Is there a motion?
As my item, Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 12-2023, a conditional use permit for 1316 Bryn Mawr Avenue as presented.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second. If I could go to Sam first, just for a little further clarification on this, if need be. And I know that Trustee Washburn wanted to weigh in.
I believe the confusion stems because the notices say the tax parcel ID on there. So when it says taxes on there, it's the parcel ID that we're specifically referring to.
Fair enough.
And as part of our Plan Commission committee discussion, part of what Sam does and Robin do with all of our projects is create, they determine what the impact is to the taxes. So in the comments and conditions, it'll say, there's no impact to the taxes, or there may be a net, So sometimes the word tax gets thrown around and it doesn't mean anything negative necessarily. It's just our community development director being very thorough in his reviews and so forth.
And it also means the next door neighbor is not on the hook for more taxes.
That's right, that's right.
There.
And you don't have to pay his taxes either.
Is there any other discussion? Okay. So in the matter of Resolution 12-2023 and the conditional use CU 23-1, roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Boccia?
Aye.
Groot?
Aye, that motion carries. So let's move on to the public hearing on Ordinance 15, wait a minute, yeah. G1E zoning code amendment related to the text within section 90-490.10 of the Code of Ordinances. Introductory provisions. Mr. Sam.
Mr. President. Oh, there we go. Mr. President, Village Trustees, this is a simple addition to our floodplain ordinances for an issued letter of map revision that was approved by FEMA. Those issued letters of map revision do not formally amend the firm panels or the flood insurance rate map panels until the next time there's a larger study done. So we include them as essentially a footnote within the floodplain ordinance to note that there is an updated study for a specific area in the village. This went through the formal DNR and FEMA process, and it modified some floodplains in kind of the center portion of the village. It doesn't really affect much. So with that, yeah, we just got to include it. We'll probably be back later this year for more floodplain updates for some other firm panels that were updated as well. So it's about as technical of a process as you'll find in the entire Code of Ordinances.
Okay, so now I will open up the public hearing regarding that item. Ordinance 15-2023 and amending the Code of Ordinances, sections 90-490.10.
Mr. President, I make a motion to...
Nope, I have to get to the public hearing part first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So is anybody here to speak on this item?
I'm sorry, she's an emergency bypass, so it went off my silent.
Last call. Okay, so there being nobody wishing to speak on this item, we can close this public hearing regarding this, and we've met our statutory responsibility. So now we can make a motion. Trustee Boccia.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 15-2023, a zoning code amendment to chapter 90-490.10 pertaining to introductory provisions as presented.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Any further comments from community development?
None here?
Any further comments or questions from us?
So are you saying that these are all new pages to it, that you're adding to the?
No, you'll see there's a tracked changes, so it's literally just one sentence. I believe it's on the second page that you have there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just adding that one map. I should note that this is effective regardless of whether you adopt it or tonight, but to continue participating in the flood insurance program, we have to keep our ordinances up to date. So really, you have no approval or denial authority over this. We're just following along to make sure we're listing the right ones for the village.
Okay, thanks.
Otherwise, good. In that case, we'll call the question. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, motion carries. Okay, so we've got about 11 resolutions for just some general housekeeping, cats and dogs, cleanup and whatnot. These, I'd really like to take these all as a group, but I can't because of the various funds and whatnot that are covered here, so we're just gonna have to grind through them. So on item AI, or Roman numeral 1, resolution 14-2023, is there a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 14-2023 to bring forward 2022 encumbrances to the 2023 budgets for General Fund, Capital Fund, Roads Fund, Sewer Fund, Stormwater Fund, TID 2, TID 5, and Parks Fund.
Second.
Okay, so I hear a motion and a second. And again, these, all of these items we've gone through in a previous COW meeting. Most of these a couple of weeks ago, and the last couple just today. So again, this is cleanup. Unless anybody has any questions, we'll move on. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, motion carries. Resolution 15-2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve Resolution 15-2023 to carry forward an ambulance appropriation totaling $300,000.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, motion carries. Item 3, Resolution 16-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 16-2023, creating a new building fund appropriation for funeral expenses for a village donor totaling $18,800.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, Resolution 17-203. 2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 17-2023, accepting a general fund elections grant to provide appropriations for envelope replacement totaling $2,925. Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, motion carries. Item 5, Resolution 18-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 18-2023 to carry forward a 2021 road fund highway building roof repair totaling $83,100.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen? Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. Item 6, Resolution 19-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 19-2023 to carry forward unused 2022 Park Fund appropriations for Campus Park totaling $360,000.
Excuse me. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 7, Resolution 20-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 20-2023 adjusting the 2023 resources for TID 1, TID 2, and TID 3.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. Item 8, Resolution 21-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 21-2023, providing $300,000 of TID 5 appropriations for the Racine Public Safety Services fee.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. Item 9, Resolution 22-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 22-2023, creating road fund appropriations for the Via Vita project.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. So we got item 10 now, which we discussed just before, Resolution 23-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-2023, providing $379,400 of appropriations for the purchase of Campbell Woods property.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. And we've got something in here, item 11, that'll make the legal man happy. Resolution -24-2023.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 24-2023, providing $125,000 of appropriations for legal fees to address nuisance properties.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Batya?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye. Motion carries. So we've got, we can go to tourism for trustee Clausen, or did you want to just handle everything under reports? It's up to you.
Yeah, for tourism, our next meeting will be August 7th, so I'll have a full report at the next meeting on the 14th for the village board. I also did want to take this moment, and I am hereby resigning from the village board. My last meeting will be the next one for October 14th.
Oh. October 14th.
No, August 14th. Did I say October?
You did.
I guess I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a lot of news, Anna Marie.
Yeah.
Can I, with your permission?
Yeah.
Mr. President, can I ask why and would you reconsider? Because we didn't expect that, and we're going to miss you. And
I understand.
I hope it's not anything bad.
No, I really had not wanted to run this last time, but it was imperative that I run. I felt that way. And so I had already anticipated that I would step down with this term. And you all know I've been going back and forth to Nevada.
Sure.
That's my priority.
Sure.
So I just felt that the timing was good. And it gives, hopefully, budget is coming up, and I thought that it would be best that I step down before the budget cycle.
Well, family is always a top priority, and you've done wonderful service for the village and for so many years, and came back and forth. It's been wonderful to work with you, and we'll be sorry to see you go, but certainly can understand that the call of the grandchildren.
Yes, yes.
The same
Thank
here.
you.
That's why I asked the question, because I for one really appreciate your friendship and what you have done for the village, your service, but being grandparent, I couldn't agree anymore.
Thank you.
Anna Marie, you've been such a stalwart promoter of this community through thick and thin. You, for years, have said, Nancy, 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 when are you coming? And so it's heartfelt congratulations, but also heartfelt sadness to see you step away, but we all understand. And again, thanking you for all you've done. I'm not
Thank
sure
you.
how we really do that, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Nancy, I've enjoyed your tourism updates and the information you give us from those, and I understand completely what you're doing for the call to go help with the grandkids.
Yeah.
And I saw my parents do that at one point. So enjoy that time you have with them, and thank you very much for
All you've
being part of the community and working so hard on it.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I echo everything everybody else has said. Anna Marie, your contributions to the board, certainly have been legion. You've been on, so many of the committees and subcommittees and work groups.
Mount Pleasant Day.
Mount Pleasant Day, your contributions, certainly, have been appreciated, not only by your fellow board members, but I think by the community at large. You're very much appreciated within the community, and so, it's on behalf of everybody who has already spoken for themselves. I'll certainly add. Grandparents or grandchildren are important, maybe even more so than board duty. And I know that that certainly is first and foremost in your heart at this point. But again, thank you for your contributions, and I think Trustee Clausen deserves a little bit of appreciation. So we need to go into closed session. So I need somebody to read us into closed session.
Okay, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to go into closed session for discussion and possible action, to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, parens 1, parens C, to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee over which the village board has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and Wisconsin Statute 19.85, parens 1, parens E, to deliberate and discuss negotiation strategy regarding the following specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss negotiation strategies and deliberate over an employment contract for the position of Finance Director, Deputy Village Administrator.
Second.
So your motion and second. We need a roll call.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
Aye, we're in closed session, and we'll be back. Open session?
Mr. President, I move to, what?
Session.
Oh, okay, yes.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to reconvene into open session to consider any motions on the matters discussed under closed session.
Second.
I hear a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the village is back in open session, and I believe that we have a action item to consider.
Mr. President, I move to approve the position Finance Director, Deputy Village Administrator Agreement.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. This was discussed at length in the closed session that we just came out of. And so, roll call, please.
Doxy?
Aye.
Washburn?
Aye.
Clausen?
Aye.
Anastasio?
Aye.
Bhatia?
Aye.
DeGroot?
President says aye. Motion carries. And so, one last motion.
Motion to adjourn? Second.
Hear a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.